Hello, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about a tough subject, which is about why do people dislike greed? It's tough because greed can be one of many things, but truly, greed is widely disliked. This is from researchers who have came up with the answer, and I am going to give you all the information. Greed is widely disliked because it prioritizes relentless, insatiable personal gain over morality and empathy. It causes harm by driving individuals to exploit others, cheat, and disregard the well being of the broader community. That definition is full of vernacular that is quite confusing, but to break it down, is basically saying greed is widely disliked because it prioritizes relentless, insatiable personal gain over morality and empathy. Meaning, the person who is obtaining something that is classifiable as an and material to be considered greedy if consumed too much, they're willing to do whatever to obtain that, and it causes harm, towards the community wholly, by driving individuals, that person to exploit, basic, basically meaning do whatever to another individual, basically like cheating or disregard the well-being, whether they're sick or injured, uh, or unable to actually comprehend something of the broader community. So why greed is viewed negatively? Scientists say erosion of trust. Greedy behavior often leads people to lie, manipulate, or throw others under the bus for personal advancement. I have a great example of what this means later on, but basically this means uh, the person who is like I said, trying to obtain something is going to lie, manipulate, and throw others under the bus for their gain. And whether that gain be position or money, it's really you can. There's different ways to gain advancement. Hard work, dedication, perseverance, those type of things look way better than people pointing out like, hey, he's kind of greedy, or hey, she's kind of greedy, or hey, these group of people are greedy, or this company is greedy. You know, but I'm not the judge here. I'm just here to report the facts. Destruction of relationships. Yes, when acquiring wealth or power becomes more important than human connection, friendships, and family, bonds break down. Bonds meaning, the human connection, friendship, and family bond. Uh, yeah, you know, there's many ways to obtain wealth and power, or wealth or power, either or. Um, but when you put, you know, the simplicity of human connection, friendship, checking on people, saying, "Hey, how are you doing?" Family bonds, you know, families, birthdays or events that real chill events. You know, assuming everything is going well. When those start breaking down, that's the destruction of relationship part that is attached to greed. Inherent selfishness. Number three, inherent selfishness. It turns an individual focus entirely inward, treating both possessions and people merely as tool to be used and consumed. This means, right, the person is looking toward always inside and treating their, their materials as possessions and people merely as like a unit to get their possession and protect your possession rather than being shared. A part of being greedy is a never-ending dissatisfaction. Because the desire is insatiable, greed prevents contentment, leaving individuals trapped in a cycle of constantly chasing more. That's pretty much said right there. Constantly chasing more. For example, money, job title, overtime, years served with the company, food, cars, clothes, electronics, friendships, relationships, social media posts, stocks, a lot of things. It's that's why it's kind of tough because you can be doing right things and posting the right things. And someone say, "Oh, he's greedy," you know, and that's just really just commentation. Um, really can't look into that, but for an example, the alcoholic industry has just reported that they have experienced a massive financial downturn with major beer, wine, and spirit companies shedding $830 billion US dollars, I'm assuming, in market value over recent years. And to be blamed, they used Gen Z. Um, right. So when this whole example pretty much is a class example of everything from erosion of trust, destruction of relationships, inherent selfishness, and never-ending dissatisfaction. First, using Gen Z as a backbone to solidify your judgment call of why you're experiencing financial hardship with your company and have a loss of over 3,000 jobs within that market. First, Gen Z is a horrible age group to point it at because Gen Z is from age 14 to 29, right? And people who don't know what Generation Z is, Generation Y, or Millennial, or Generation X, I honestly don't even think. I feel like you're better off just saying the age group, 14 to 29, Millennial 30 to 45, Generation X 46 to 61. When you're putting like Gen Z, Millennial, Generation X, I feel like you're just throwing people under the bus by using a term that wasn't used by no one but the creator of the person who started the Gen, Millennial, and Generation X. But that's just my criticism. It's better off to just say 14 to 29. I don't know that many 14-year-olds out there buying beer or yelling on any 17-year-olds. 14 to 17. Mm. But the world forces people to really look at what's going on. This is not times before the industry of automobiles because since we have automobiles, you have to be sober to drive. At, just like the college experience, I've had my fair share of drinks. I know what it does. I know how addicting it is. I know how hard it is to you know control the amount of alcohol you consume. So you really can't tell me much about uh, one drink is fine to have. No, it's not because one drink, depending on the volume size, can lead to a deadly experience. There are countless number of men and women in sitting in prison today because they had one drink. One drink could be 10 milliliters, 20 milliliters, a whole 40 ounce. You know what I'm saying? So it's just that one drink rule or the proof rule. It really leads to a lot of unfortunate events. If you look up, in the news or do your research, how many drunk driving murderers are out there in the world, and they're caught because they're unable to function, and they get hit with a homicide, uh, double homicide, triple homicide, however many people they murdered under the influence, and then they're hit with life, double life, triple life, never out. Um, it's just one of them things where drinking does have its negative downside, and plus, all alcohol is just from my research is just expired fruit or vegetables. Whether it be like moonshine or whatever the case be. Jim Beam, um, whiskey, wine. It's just expired fruit. Uh, which they try to claim health benefits, but there's no health benefits because anything that takes you out of your state of mind and puts you in potential danger of, being assaulted, for men, getting into a fight, uh, you can be put in the hospital. And then if you don't, you just keep drinking, there's been, research shown, it'll make you lose your teeth. Unfortunately, I don't know anyone that doesn't want to enjoy a nice hamburger or a nice sandwich and with some fries, on some random day. Can't do that, if you don't have no teeth. But I'm not here to, preach the side effects of it. You should already know because alcohol does have life permanent damage to your body if you don't stop it beforehand. And then for women, um, there are countless number of assault cases with women that leads to like rape, uh, assault, impolite touching, because the male or woman is drunk that they're with. It's a shame. It's shameful. And personally, no one should go through this. So, when the alcohol industry post, we lost $830 billion, and we had to cut 5,000 jobs. For I feel sorry for the person who for the last result, trying to get a job, they had to work in the alcohol industry. Uh, I mean, I don't know how much the alcohol industry makes, but I mean, ma'am or sir, McDonald's is paying 16, $18 an hour. Try to stay away from, negativity because the alcohol industry doesn't post, hey, we've had 20 million car accidents with, 100% of the 20 million of the person at fault was under the influence, or we've had 30 million rape cases, and uh, we found that 25 million those who were at fault, were under the influence, or we've had 100 million assault cases, and we found that 50 million of those people who were fighting were under the influence. They don't show those statistics of the negative side. They want you to buy alcohol and what they say, drink responsibly. I don't know no one who can drink responsibly because the quickness of how alcohol gets into your system and maneuvers your straight line thinking into something else is by far one of the strangest things known to mankind. It's probably worse than aliens coming down on Earth because it is so destructive. And why people dislike this type of greed is because, right, in the definition, it prioritizes relentless, insatiable personal gain over morality and empathy. It causes harm by driving individuals to exploit. These individuals be like these bars or these companies that sell alcohol, what they call them, liquor stores, to cheat, disregard the well-being of the broader community. Um, Lastly, bars and fine dining restaurants reported that steeper menu prices coupled with a lack of drinking have ruined high margin alcohol revenue, causing uneven restaurant sector employment across dozens of states. I do feel sorry for the people who are employed in these restaurants, and but I mean, if you're reporting that hey, ruined, we have ruined high margin alcohol revenue because the age group 14-year-olds and 29-year-olds aren't drinking at our restaurant. I mean, that's just greedy right there. Uh, and you're going to face erosion of trust, destruction of relationships, inherent selfishness, and a never-ending dissatisfaction of constantly chasing more. So, hey everybody, I appreciate you all for tuning in to episode 26 of the CCA U2G show, where we discuss why do people dislike greed, where it's, whether you're on the positive side or negative side. I'm not trying to tell you which side to be on, but uh, it's a hit or a miss, everybody. It's a hit or a miss. But we're just trying to help you be the best person that you truly are. I appreciate you for tuning in. Thank you.